1 year ago, we came to this chamber to deliver the change voters demanded. After decades of debating the same issues, with politics too often trumping tough decisions, we finally delivered a budget that broke with the past and set a new course for our city's future. Our challenges had not changed, but our political resolve had. We answered our structural challenges with structural solutions, producing the smallest budget deficit since the Great Recession. For the first time, we put in place a citywide wellness plan that improves health care for 47,000 city employees and their families, saving taxpayers money. Through disciplined management, we improve health care outcomes for our employees and produce dramatic savings for our city. For years, we talked about cracking down on deadbeat collection so that deadbeats no longer have a free ride on the backs of hardworking families. We stopped talking, we ended the culture of complacency in City Hall. And by boosting our enforcement efforts, this year we doubled the collection from deadbeats who owed the city money compared to just 2 years ago. We eliminated unnecessary administrative positions last year, and we will continue that course by cutting nearly 275 positions this coming year, saving an additional $20 million. We put garbage collection on a cost-efficient grid system and introduced competitive bidding for recycling services, enabling us to expand service citywide this coming year. Businesses, large and small, have responded to these changes and these reforms. Instead of fleeing the city to other parts of the country or to the suburbs, businesses are relocating to the city of Chicago, creating jobs, generating revenue, and growing our economy. In the past 18 months alone, General Electric Transportation Worldwide, Motorola Mobility, Sara Lee, Federal Savings Bank, McGladrey, Sagents, and Sterling Partners have each announced they are moving their headquarters to Chicago, creating more than 4,000 jobs. In addition, more than 50 companies have either located or expanded in the city, bringing close to 20,000 jobs in the coming years. When it comes to creating jobs, the second city is second to none. Chicago led the nation's large cities in job growth in the past year and experienced the largest drop in unemployment. Over the summer, Chicago area home prices rose at nearly double the pace of the national average. We have made progress, but let's be honest. Too many Chicagoans have not shared in our growing economy. When we opened up an apprenticeship program for the water infrastructure investments we are doing, 14,000 people applied for 75 positions. Over 2,000 people applied for 400 bus driver positions we are adding this year to the CTA. This shows that we have much more work to do so that every Chicagoan can find a good middle-class job. And rows of boarded-up houses in neighborhoods throughout our city remind us we have a long way to go to reverse the devastating effects of the mortgage crisis. Still, the economic trends are clear. Demand for retail, manufacturing, and shipping space has hit 4-year highs. Tourism is up at record levels. Hotel construction this year doubled. Hotel occupancy this summer reached a 5-year high, and shows at McCormick Place are up. As a result of overall economic activity, our city revenues are up by more than $40 million. We are not in this position today by coincidence, but by choice. By speaking honestly, thinking differently, and leading forcefully, we gave families and companies the confidence to choose Chicago. But these positive economic trends are not a free pass to postpone making the tough decisions or to put reform on hold. Now is the time to press forward and capitalize on the momentum we are building. Chicago is known as a city that works. This is our opportunity to deliver a budget that works for our taxpayers. That is why today I am proud to deliver for your consideration a budget that balances our city's finances without raising a single tax or introducing a single new fee. This is a budget that allows us to make critical investments by reforming government instead of raising taxes. It is a budget that works for our taxpayers by making government work harder and better for them. We will not raise property taxes. We will not raise sales taxes. We will not raise the fuel tax. We will not raise the amusement tax. We will, however, cut the employee head tax. In fact, we will eliminate it. During the campaign, I visited a small business owner named Craig Friedman at his family-owned seat manufacturing company. Craig is here with us today. During the campaign, I stood with Craig and his employees and promised to phase out the head tax over 4 years so that Craig and thousands of small business owners like him can put their money to creating jobs. I am proud that in just 2 years, we will eliminate the head tax once and for all. And from now on, Chicago will no longer be a city that punishes job creation. We will promote it. In addition, the old days of financing inefficient city services by emptying the rainy day fund are also a thing of the past. We are following up on the $20 million down payment we made in city reserves last year with an additional $15 million this year, bringing our total investment in just 2 years to $35 million. Our goal? Reform where we can, cut where we must, and invest where it matters, providing greater opportunities for our children, better services for our neighborhoods, and stronger growth for our small businesses. All of these investments depend on protecting our communities. This is our #1 priority as a city. In the first 3 months of this year, neighborhoods experienced an increase in gang violence that the city as a whole cannot ignore, and I, as mayor, will never accept. When we came into office, Englewood and Harrison districts alone produced nearly 25% of all violent crime in the city of Chicago. That is unacceptable to me. It's unacceptable to all Chicagoans. These are our communities. These are our families. And most importantly, these are our children. So we embarked on a new anti-gang strategy and put a new commander in Englewood. We have taken strong actions, and our city is beginning to see results. Our strategy has reduced homicides in Harrison by 20% this year, and in Englewood by 42%. The fact is that over the past year, the Englewood district is leading the city in reducing its homicide rate. Englewood. Earlier this year, we expanded those same strategies from Englewood and Harrison to communities like Grand Crossing, Auburn Gresham, and Little Village. We brought in new leadership where we needed to, applied our anti-gang strategy, dedicated more resources. Since we made those changes, Grand Crossing has seen a 24% reduction in crime. While homicide rates have increased in parts of the city as a result of gang-on-gang conflicts, overall, we've seen a reduction in crime across the city to new lows. Burglary is down 15%, sexual assault is down 8%, motor vehicle theft is down 14%, and overall crime is down nearly 9% across the city, resulting in some of the lowest crime rates we have seen in decades. But when I sit across from a mother whose child has been a victim of gun violence in their living room, in the hospital room, in my office, and sometime at a funeral home, the hard-won gains of our police officers are of little comfort to her and her family. For that mother, there's only one fact. It is that look in a mother's eye that brings home the truth that her loss is really our loss, because her child is a child of the city of Chicago. And no child, regardless of where they live, is not to be somewhere else. They're in our city, and they are our responsibility. Violent crime continues to rip through too many of our neighborhoods, victimizing the community, stealing our children's sense of safety along with their childhood. We will ensure that our children have the protection they deserve by guaranteeing that the Chicago Police Department is at full strength at all times through regular recruitment classes. By the end of this year, 457 recruits will be in training, the largest number since 2006. When the first of those recruits graduate on December 17th, they will be the first of regular recruit classes throughout the year so that our force will always be at full strength. They will be commanded by an expanding corps of experienced leaders. In August, I attended the graduation of 30 sergeants and 26 lieutenants at Navy Pier, the first graduation in more than 2 years. We will increase the regularity of promotions, and next year the police department will hold the first sergeant's exam in 6 years. With our force at full strength, we will be able to surge extra police on weekends year-round instead of only during the summer as we did in the past. And after nearly 20 years, we will reinvent our community policing strategy to build a better bridge between police officers on the beat and residents. Like many aging programs, CAPS needs to be re-energized. With nearly as many people working in the police department headquarters as in the districts they are supposed to serve, CAPS has become way too bureaucratic. So we will move all our CAPS resources and staffing back into the districts where they belong so that each commander in each district can design their own community policing efforts to fight crime and gangs in their respective neighborhoods. From increasing our recruitment classes, to bolstering our senior ranks, to reinventing CAPS, to expanding our ability to surge on weekends year-round, not just in the summer, we are investing in the safety of our city. We have already put more cops on the beat, and we got our kids off the street by putting in place a stricter curfew time, and enforcement is up this year 12%. But the most dangerous time for kids remains the hours between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, when school lets out and parents get home from work. Before this year, our kids were out of school around 2 o'clock. That was a threat to our children's safety as well as to their education. Starting this year, the children of Chicago got a 30% increase in educational time, the largest increase in the country. Every child in kindergarten this year will get 2.5 more years in class with their teachers by the time they graduate high school than they would have gotten under the old system. 2.5 more years. From now on, our children in Chicago will have a full day, a full year, that measures up to their full potential, and we will no longer, as a city, shortchange them on their future. But our responsibilities to their education and safety do not end at the school bell. We will build on the shoulders of the full school day by carrying Maggie Daley's legacy, by making historic investment in after-school initiatives to serve a total of 13,000 children. Last year, we doubled the number of summer jobs for our kids to offer an unprecedented number of opportunities. This year, we will continue these investments so that young people gain experience rather than lose ground in the summer months. We will also increase early childhood education with a 3-year investment serving 5,000 pre-kindergarten, the essential years, when a child learns their numbers, when a child learns their letters, when a child learns their colors. To enhance health care services for our children, our Healthcare Fraud Task Force has identified $5 million in savings. These savings will help us expand eye care for children who need it. And with this budget, we will triple the number of CPS students who receive free eye exam and glasses to a total of 30,000 children. Simply put, We will provide more of our children with the ability to see the blackboard and the computer screen in their classroom. The combined investments in after-school initiatives, summer jobs, pre-kindergarten, and a children's eye care constitute a significant investment in our children's health, education, and safety, making this budget a child's first budget. Now, I want to take 1 second, and timing is fortuitous. Today in the New York Times, there's a story, and I'm sure it's on all your reading list. Cuts and the fate of the young. And it details all the cuts that the federal government, states, and cities across the country are making in their children. And they're balancing their budget and making choices on the backs of their children. This city is going to take a different course. We are going to invest in our kids after school. We're going to invest in our kids' time in class. We're going to invest in their pre-K years. We're going to invest in their summer jobs. And we are going to give them the chance with their public health as a pediatrician's son, make sure that they can see their blackboard in class. And we are going to show people the different direction for our children. And everybody else who has decided to take their children and try to put their futures on hold by making cuts, we're going to show them a different way, and I will guarantee Chicago will have a better future because of it, because that's our future. To enhance the health care services for our children, the combined investments, as I said, in summer jobs, after-school activities, as well as in our eyeglass care and our pre-K, build on all the other investments we made also last year, because we, in addition at CPS, added 6,000 children to our kindergarten full-day program. Instead of covering services to pay for inefficient and bloated bureaucracy, we are reforming city government to expand services for our children, our families, and our neighborhoods. Those reforms would not have been possible without the partnership of our friends in labor. The Labor's Local 1001, led by Lou Phillips, who is here, partnered with the city to reduce costs and increase flexibility, which would help save the taxpayers more than $30 million over the next 6 years. Competitive bidding, labor agreements, plus the efficiency that comes from grid management in the areas of tree trimming has enabled the city to increase tree trimming services by 40% in the coming year and to protect and replace 90,000 ash trees across the city. By reforming duty disability and reassigning injured workers in a strategic way, we have increased rodent control by 34% over the past 6 weeks. We will continue to reform next year so more workers can stay on the job delivering this essential services to our residents and their neighborhood. And working with Christine Boardman and Matt Brandon from SEIU Local 73, we recently announced competitive bidding at the Department of Aviation that will cut the cost of in-house custodial services by 12%. From City Hall to McCormick Place, we have transformed the way labor and the city work together to deliver services for our taxpayers and make the city more economically competitive. And you can see at McCormick Place with our partners at both the Carpenters and the Teamsters. McCormick Place, since that announcement, has added $3.5 billion in shows. But we are not done. I'm asking every union leader to follow the lead of the laborers, SEIU, the Carpenters, and Teamsters, and other union leaders, to come to the table with their own concrete, actionable plan and ideas on how we can reform work rules, bring flexibility, achieve savings, and make the city's workforce all that more competitive. We in the city project that through these agreements and changes, we can save taxpayers as much as $200 million over the next decade. We are not afraid to make the same kind of important decisions within City Hall. We will not limit competitive bidding just to labor contracts. It is a strategy that has been proven to work, and it is a strategy we will also apply to professional services, starting with legal services for workers' compensation. We will establish metrics to compare our in-house counsel's performance against outside law firms. By measuring their success in cost, in time, and in payments, we can reform how we process cases to better serve the taxpayers, city employees, and save millions of dollars and bring necessary reform to the workers' compensation program. And I am proud that Chairman Burke has agreed to partner with us in these efforts. We will consolidate the city's redundant information technology offices, coordinating our purchases, and adopting smart technologies in order to offer our residents better services. We will save taxpayers a minimum of $1 million next year. We will also reform the way we support the most vulnerable among us so that we can provide better services to those who need them most. We will continue to partner with nonprofit organizations to share responsibilities with the Department of Family Support Services, as we recently did with the Catholic Charities. We took those savings from this partnership, and we were able to invest in 1,400 more homeless youths getting care and 220 more homeless adults. By building on the same kind of partnerships with local nonprofit food pantries, like the Chicago Food Depository, we can substantially expand the network of locations in different neighborhoods, improve the food quality, and provide more than 150,000 additional meals to families in need. And by working with other nonprofits, we will reduce the costs and reinvest those savings to expand our services to victims of domestic violence, allowing us to help an additional 3,000 women and children who have experienced the tragedy of domestic violence. We will give them the support they need to get back on their feet and take the next step forward in their lives. And as a person who worked for President Clinton in helping pass the Violence Against Women Act, this is an essential investment we make to those families and to those women who have been victims of domestic violence. And there's nothing more important than establishing a sense of community. We have these kind of opportunities in this budget because we chose discipline reforms that have led to economic growth, much of it driven by the success of our small businesses. That is where many immigrants to our city first place their foot on the ladder of success, and it is where many of our high-tech companies got their first start. Small businesses account for nearly half the jobs in Chicago, but too often, City Hall, this building, is a problem for small businesses, and we're not their partner. Take Ruby Madrigal, who started a dog university in East Garfield Park. Under the old system, Ruby paid $910 to obtain 3 separate licenses. She needed a separate license to wash a dog, a separate license to sell a dog, and another license for a dog collar. I think Ruby's just looking for a kid to buy the dog. We cannot allow our small business owners to jump through so many hoops just to get started. Now, because of the reforms, Ruby needs 1 license. Saves her more than $600 and countless hours in lines here at City Hall. For Ruby and small business owners across the city, we cut the number of licenses by 60% last year, just through consolidations. We also cut the time it takes to open a new restaurant by 35%. And we cut the number of visits by inspectors in half, just through better coordination and setting up a task force. So next year, we will cut the annual inspections on many buildings by 70%, establishing a task force approach also. We will work to get inspections down to 1 day, 1 visit, so that we can better use our resources and expand our work without spending an extra taxpayer dollar. I've heard over and over again at many small business roundtables that I held leading to this budget that their biggest problem is City Hall departments are stuck in separate ways, uncoordinated, and don't know what each other are doing. All of us know these stories. Thank you for that. Now, we all know that we try to set up once a one-stop shop. Every city tries to do it. In the past, but it never realized its full potential because actually the departments in City Hall never changed their outlook, and they never fully worked together. We will learn from that history and create a unified approach to serving small businesses. A single small business center will appoint a personal small business rep to provide end-to-end services for everything a small business needs to open their doors, get a loan, and start to hire new employees right away. Whether it is cutting taxes, reforming city government, consolidating licenses, this budget gets City Hall out of the way of small business owners and gets us squarely behind them so they can achieve their dreams and create jobs in their neighborhood. If we can realize all the goals set in this budget, we can continue to make Chicago the best city in the country to start a business, find a job, and raise a family. Now, let's be honest. It has been a long road to get to where we are today. A long road. Holding the line on taxes while we balance our budget, investing in our children in an unprecedented way, improving our neighborhood services, making fundamental reforms to our government, and strengthening our commitment to public safety. But if we do not come to terms with the past and take on our long-term challenges as a city, all of this hard work will go out the window. That is what we face if we do not fix the crisis surrounding our pension payments, or if we do too little, too late. The residents of Chicago elected us to tell the hard truths so that we can make the tough decisions. We need to be honest with everyone about the challenges we face and the difficult choices we must make to solve them. Now, I am not interested in who to blame on how we got here. I am interested, however, in solving the problem once and for all and working together to do it. Whether we decide to come to grip with these challenges will determine whether the responsible choices in the last two budgets marks a permanent break and a new direction for our city, or a fleeting glimpse of the kind of opportunities that will never, ever be available to us again as a city. So here's the hard truths. In less than 4 years, payments to meet our pension obligations will comprise 22% of the city's budget, $1 out of $5. That's $1.2 billion of taxpayer money and growing each year after that. And without changes, many funds will not be able to meet their obligations to the retirees. I want you to think about it this way, because to govern is to choose, as President Kennedy once said. $1.2 billion is close to what we spend on all salaries for our police department. $1.2 billion would pay for the resurfacing of 32,000 blocks in Chicago's neighborhoods. $1.2 billion could build 10 new high schools and 12 new neighborhood libraries every year. $1.2 billion could pay the combined costs of public health programs, garbage collection, tree trimming, rodent control, street light fixing, pothole filling, recycling, street cleaning, snow removal, and programs at our parks and for our seniors every year. If anybody would like, I can read that again. Is that a yes or no? No. That's the choices. Our taxpayers and residents should not be asked to choose between pension payments and public safety. Pension payments and paved streets. Pension payments and public health. If we choose to keep those services, which is the right thing to do, and make no changes to our pension system, you and I will have to ask the taxpayers for 50% more in property taxes. That is unacceptable to me. I'm going to go out on a limb. I think it's unacceptable to you. And I know it is absolutely unacceptable to the residents and the homeowners of the city of Chicago. Now, no one should underestimate the difficult choices involved in delivering the reforms we need to stabilize our pensions and our pension payments. But they pale in comparison to the alternative, eliminating all the essential services that Chicago residents expect and pay for. We must come together to ensure the security for both our city retirees, city employees, and our city taxpayers. And what we really need most is our representatives in Springfield to step up, take their share of responsibility, and not miss this critical opportunity once again. This budget is both a dividend of the work we have done, and it's a down payment on the hard work to come. We know this is a moment to be seized and not squandered. And as we mark Chicago's 175th anniversary this year, as Alderman Burke reminds me regularly, which I appreciate my history class, We know we are not the first to confront challenges. Chicago's history has been defined not by the challenges we faced, but by the challenges we met. We don't just make big plans in Chicago, we deliver on them. With this budget and with your hard work and working together, I know we will deliver a better city for Chicago's residents, and I'm absolutely sure we will deliver a brighter future for Chicago's children. Thank you, and God bless Chicago.